Wait for it. We are now live. So hello and welcome to the Slam Jam Championship Wrestling Show. Let's quickly check out the intro.
We're locked in a cage, it's the Slam Jam Show. We're dynamite, you better feel alive. We're better than you, and you know it. Yeah. If you don't like it, we got two words for you. Slam Jam, Slam Jam. Feel the power.
And hitting you now live, we are Slam Jam. Say hello to the people, Ian.
Hello to the people, Ian.
Amazing. And I'll say hello to the people, Ian, as well. I am David. But yeah, let's get into things. So we had Saturday night's main event. We have a new world champion. As I put in the title of the show, is this going to be the winter of Punk?
I like it. Yeah, certainly a big seismic change. I think we chatted in the group chat about it being like the right call. I don't think any of us are huge Jey Uso fans. Dave Meltzer apparently is. Did you see the star rating?
No, what was the star rating?
4 stars for
Wow.
Jey Uso Punk, which I guess wrestling's subjective and all that, but like that's at least 1.5 stars higher than I had it. Like
I could just about justify a 4-star rating from my biased position of being a fan of Punk, but yeah. The ending, like it was on in the middle of the night and I watched it live. Actually, I didn't. Okay. I fell asleep. I woke up, I was like, oh damn, I missed the end. And so I rewound it because I was like, I'm just gonna end up being a spoiler, right? I was about 10 minutes after the fact. But when I say I was 10 minutes after the fact, I didn't know how long the match lasted. So I just went back to close to the beginning. And then when I watched it, I was like, God, is this match ever going to end? Because there was like so many false finishes and all of the kind of stuff actually that Meltzer would go for, where there was lots of hitting finishes and kicking out.
Yeah, which is a bit of an epidemic at the moment, I think. Like,
yeah, definitely.
A wider conversation, isn't it? But I think you and I had sort of polar opposite experiences as far as that event goes, because I don't stay up to watch them anymore. I just can't hack it. So I was up Sunday morning, and with it being on YouTube as opposed to Netflix, Netflix just goes, here's the next one, like click and watch. You have to search for it on YouTube, and so I searched for it, and the very first thing that popped up was a thumbnail of CM Punk holding the world title. So, and it was posted by WWE as well. It was their highlights. So I was immediately like, no, I hate being spoiled. So I watched the whole thing on double speed, like the whole event, just out of like, well, sod it, I'm going to get through it now.
Yeah.
And like Punk Jay still felt slow, like even on double speed, I was watching it on. Like,
okay, so have you noticed the thing where if wrestlers are trying to make, and when I say wrestlers, it's the main event guys, if they're trying to make a match seem epic, the more it goes on, the more they'll just be like slow and punch like this, and suddenly it'll be a quick finisher and they'll both fall down, and it's how you make it feel epic. But I can imagine you're watching it on double speed and it's just like, Still not much is happening here.
No, it just felt very flat. And I mean, I probably don't have the truest fan perspective because, as I said, I already knew the result. I'd literally seen the screenshot of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Jay just it was a rough night, I think, and the net breaker was what it was. There was a point where Punk threw water over him, and I didn't know whether that was like part of the story or whether that was Punk, like the actual guy being like, "Wake up! Like this is a main event."
I didn't,
but then if Meltzer's rating it 4 stars, then maybe
like lots of people are making stuff out of this net breaker, and then Punk kicking him in the head, and then they're grabbing stuff from Raw, and they're like, "Why didn't he kick Bron Breakker in the head?"
Right.
It's like, well, why should he? It's just like in the heat of the moment. I don't even see that he kicked him in the head in a legitimate way. I think it was because didn't he repeat the spot?
They do, yeah, they did.
Yeah, exactly. So all that happened is Punk tried to do a move on his opponent. His opponent wriggled out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Punk got up. He's like, "I'm going to get him in it. I'll kick him," because otherwise it's just like, "Oh, let's just pick it up and repeat."
Yeah, for the spot to be repeated, you're right. Like it needed a moment of
it needed something just to soften him up, because otherwise it's just, well, he wriggled out of it. Why am I still in control here? He should be regathering himself.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's just being in that spot, like in the main event of Saturday night's main event, Punk's big title win, whereas his last title win, if you like, was against Gunther, and that was slow, but I loved it. Like I love the slow pace of that Punk Gunther match. Whereas this, I just had a bad time generally with the show. I enjoyed Jade Cargill's squash.
So did I. Yeah.
I'll bring us back to Dave Meltzer, because compare this to Uso Punk, which he rated 4 stars. Jade and Tiffy, I think, got 1.5 stars. Like 1.5 or 1 3/4 stars. I don't have it in front of me, but like my jaw hit the floor, because my experience of watching those 2 matches was, again, polar opposite. Like I thought it did what it needed to do. Like I've never been that high on Jade.
No.
So her having a 5-minute match as a newly turned heel was perfect. And keep the belt on her now.
It's she doesn't need to have long matches. Like the longer she wrestles, the more it exposes that she's got gaps in it.
She's Goldberg. She needs short, impactful, and she now needs. Now they've put her on that pedestal. She needs that dominant run. I'd have her keep it right up until Mania, and maybe have Bianca win the Rumble and
now. Here's the thing that came up this week is about, like, where is Bianca? And then people saying that it's because she injured her finger. Like, what's going on there? Is it just that they're like, well, we'll bring you back and we don't miss you unless you're gone for a while, so they'll bring her back in a more impactful way?
I think that's part of it. By all accounts, because you hear broken finger and you think, oh, okay, like I've broken a finger, and like a few weeks maybe, but this has been, is it 7 months now?
Since WrestleMania.
But apparently, by all accounts, the type of break she had in her finger was so it's like the worst way you can break your finger. So
wow!
Involved breaking the knuckle. And apparently she was backstage and it was blowing up, and other wrestlers were like coming in to see if they could have a look at Jade's finger. So
shit!
Yes.
Oh yeah. Do you know what? Like, I do remember this photo. It's a bit unpleasant. It's just a weird balloon finger.
I can't say I've actually seen the photo.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, that is proper.
Holy shit!
That is proper Popeye the Sailor Man looking finger.
The knuckle, isn't it? That as well.
Yeah,
the damage has been done. And was the spot? Did someone land on her hand? And I guess her finger was just not in the right position. But to be out for a finger injury for 7 months is a long time. And I think at this point, even if she's good to go, apparently she's been backstage and stuff. I'd hold off another couple of months and give her a big pop at the Rumble, whether she goes on to win it or not. But her and Liv both if they're fit and ready. You know.
Yeah, like you could bring her back at the Rumble. You could bring her back. Well, I don't know. You could. You need to find the storyline way into. Just coming back in the Rumble feels a bit like ordinary or whatever. But I'm sure they can bring her back, and that would probably be the right time to lead up to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But it depends what they're gonna do with oh yeah, hang on. Here it is. Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill at Saturday night's main event, and it's apparently the score was 1.75
1 3/4, yeah, which I can't believe it, because I think a big problem in sort of wrestling generally is that there seems to be this idea that, as you were talking about with the pace of Punk and Jay, longer is always better.
No,
give it a long epic match, and I couldn't disagree more with that take. Like the original Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Like I went back, I wasn't a fan at the time that it happened.
Me neither.
I went back and watched it historically, and I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like, so slow.
It was so slow. Now, see, the thing about that, right? When they announced that, I was like, oh, this is going to be cool, because the first Iron Man match I saw was, I think, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Rick Rude in WCW, and they did a 30-minute Iron Man match.
Right.
And the thing that made that exciting is because it ended up where it was like 2-3. And then in the last minute, it was like watching a football match where it was suddenly like, oh my God, he's got another goal. He's tied. And now is it going to be sudden death? And then like when there's 30 seconds left, suddenly he rolls him up. And I think Ricky Steamboat won.
Okay.
Now, and I think that was the first Iron Man match in WWE, or certainly prominently. And then you have it go to 0-0 to show how good they both are. But it's like, what was the point of it being an Iron Man match? It was just
you could have just had them wrestle
for an hour.
An hour, yeah.
Because the exciting thing is the scoring the points.
Yeah, I started watching in sort of very late 90s, early 2000s, and some of the creative Iron Man matches then that I remember spots from Iron Man matches, so I can't say that they were in and of themselves great matches, but DQ spots in Iron Man matches where they'll whack them with a chair to get I remember Triple H doing one, hitting someone with a chair to get DQ'd, but then he scores 2 pinfalls.
I think a similar idea happened in this Ricky Steamboat match I said about. I think it might have been that I might be half making this up, but say Ricky Steamboat got the first pinfall, or he got the first fall, and he's celebrating, and then suddenly just Rick Rude comes behind him, bangs him with the chair. The referee's like, disqualify, but then instantly gets down 1, 2, 3.
Right.
And he gets a fall back, and then he goes to pin him again, 1, 2, and he kicks out. And he's like, but now, and the commentators can lean into Steamboat's now like, he's huffing air because of that vicious attack, etc.
It's exactly as you say. The selling point of those matches is multiple pinfalls without weakening one or the other. You've seen quick tap outs before in Iron Man matches where I'm tapping quick because I don't want to be in, say, the Walls of Jericho for 2 minutes and end up absolutely
exactly.
I'd rather tap now so that we have the break, and then
that's I've never thought of it like that before. There's good logic to get out of give up the short term, lose a fall, so you don't have the longer term damage. But it's like, do you remember when they did the scramble matches? And the problem there,
Brian Kendrick as WWE champion for a couple.
Yeah, like I was so into the idea that he should win that match at the time as well. Not so much now, but but at the time I was just like, how come there are so many falls? Why is everyone so easy to beat now when there's like 7 of them there?
Well, this is maybe that was maybe part of the downfall of that match type and why they didn't do it so much. But I think it harkens back to what I'm saying about finishing moves. Like finishing moves aren't finishing moves anymore. They're like you've got to hit 3 or 4 of them in a row, or you've got to hit them off the top rope and only then get the pinfall. So
yeah.
but the
Punk
scramble
love-
was good.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was going to say Punk loves doing this spot where he has someone bounce off the rope and land onto his shoulders.
It's a good spot. It was a good spot when he did. Did he do it? Was it Moxley? He did it with.
He did it with Moxley in AEW.
And he did it again with Gunther, which I think was
Yeah.
a long enough enough distance there for that to be a nice like moment.
Yeah.
And then like your next title match, you're doing it again. And he did it twice because he failed the first time because Jay got out of it into the sleeper, which was a good spot.
Is this weird logic of, again, there's a lot of stuff where we can say about what is the logic behind this, but it's also the logic of no one ever falls like this hanging over the ropes unless they're against Rey Mysterio. And it's like no one ever just falls onto anyone's shoulders unless it's they're being set up for CM Punk's move.
No, it's a tricky game applying logic to wrestling because like if you threw me in ropes, I'm not gonna like turn and hit it with my back and run back towards you, am I? I'm just gonna be like, what the hell did you do that for?
Well, do you know what? I think Bret Hart is the only person who they throw at the turnbuckle and he would just go straight into it. But again, it's like, Bret, you're really good. Everyone else, they sort of spin so it doesn't just, they don't just run into it with their chest.
Right.
You know, but yeah, everyone's got their bits. Like Ric Flair, he'll run in and flip over the top rope, but yeah. Anyway, so that was Saturday night's main event. One of the interesting things I saw today was apparently Jesse Ventura isn't gonna. They're not planning that he'll be back for anything further. And to me, that kind of makes sense anyway because he's quite old.
Yeah,
you know, he's not going to be wanting to just do it indefinitely.
No, and he was a callback, wasn't he? The whole vibe of SNME is 80s nostalgia, and he was a perfect fit for that. But he was also, you know, on commentary, not being the heel commentator, but he was burying the finish of the match, like as a like, why the hell is he walking out of the cage?
Yes, this was.
I can't remember whether you agreed with him or not. I know there's someone on Slam Jam that was like, yes, or was it Gav?
It quite possibly is Gav. It was Gav. I can't remember. Do you know what? I do kind of agree with it. Like growing up watching steel cage matches in WWF, it always just was you can escape through the door. And then I think at a later point, it was like, no, you can only escape over. Well, no, actually, that other places you don't escape. The whole point is you're locked in.
Right.
Why? What is the logic of trying to run away from your opponent to prove that you're better? You're meant to be in the cage and you beat them because there is nowhere to run.
Right. Yeah, I think the best logic or the first bit of good logic, I guess, that comes to mind. For some reason, I didn't think I'd be saying this and good logic in the same sentence, but it's JBL getting put in. Was it barbed wire steel cage or something?
I can't remember.
Big Show, but that's the dynamic where like cowardly heel refuses to stay in the ring and fight, like stick him in a cage. Like Dominic Mysterio is perfect right now for no, you're in a cage with Rusev and that's it. Like there is That's the booking call, isn't it? That's the logic call, is cowardly heel gets caged in. They're the ones who
and also like, oh, you'll put them in a cage so there can't be outside interference, and then the manager is still like, oh, he's slipping something through the cage. There's still ways to do it, but just like,
I think there's we should go back sometime and like document how many cage matches there have been and how many of them have had outside interference, like, and it would be ridiculous.
Quite a lot. Like one of the crazy things, again, maybe this is we are identifying like loads of stuff here. We're sending notes to Triple H or to Vince, so he can just. Apparently, Vince is going to have a memoir. I heard this week from JBL. So I tell you what, that would be an interesting book to dissect.
An interesting book to analyze the truth versus lie content. He's got a bit of Trump about him in that sense, I think.
Well, he's got a bit of Hogan about him in like the truth of things, hasn't he?
Right. Indeed.
You know,
so, yeah.
Like I don't mean to say this in a light way because obviously Hogan died a couple of months ago, but I can imagine a Vince McMahon book would still have the forward by Hulk Hogan, and everyone will be like, actually, when did he write this?
Right.
But what was I going to say? Oh, another match. Yeah. So the first Iron Man match, and they didn't demonstrate that. Oh, you get multiple falls within this one match.
Amazing. Yeah.
The first ever Hell in the Cell to keep them in, and they first of all went on top of the cage.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did it on the second one famously, and obviously that's a great idea that they could run with. But they're in a cell, except for they're just going to get out of it. There will be outside interference. They will get on top of this thing, and it's like, why don't you actually just run with the logistics of how what this match lends itself to?
Right, and what completely derails the concept.
Yeah,
like I'll never forget the Fiend and Seth in Hell in a Cell. The first ever cell match that finished in a DQ. Like, what are you talking? You've had Randy Orton like torturing Jeff Hardy.
Was it X-Pac reacted to that, and he was under contract at the time, and he was just like, "How do you have like a disqualification in a Hell in the Cell match?" I think so angry.
I think that night as well, was it one of the Young Bucks that just tweeted? They didn't say anything about the match. They just tweeted like, "Catch AEW Dynamite Wednesdays on."
Yeah.
Like,
that's cool.
That was a low point.
And that was also the match where it was bathed in red, which is awful. Like, I think they did that somewhat. They definitely did it for Kane. They did it for Sin Cara, and it's just like, who wants to watch an entire wrestling match where it's just like it's in like one color, like you've got just like one of the old 3D glasses that you're watching the whole thing through.
Yeah, and then they made the cell itself red, didn't they? At a point,
they made the cell red.
For a few years, it was completely red.
And you also then got where Seth was screaming in the corner. Do you remember Seth screaming from the Fiend? Terrible.
Yes, yeah. That was.
I'm sure I can find the meme. So
that was not the best acting.
Screaming. Let's see if it comes up. Oh no, because it's going to be screaming at people. Oh no, here it is. Here it is. I knew it would happen. So let's just make sure there's nothing. You always got to be careful with Google. You never know what's going to come on screen.
Right.
But this is like Seth just terrified.
Oh God, yeah.
Seth just terrified. Dev, hello.
Hey Dev.
Hello.
Now, Dev, you have turned up at a good time. We were just talking about the lack of logic in all things that we're supposed to be talking about to enjoy here. But Dev, just as a heads up, the show tonight will finish just about 8, so we won't be able to run over. So
yeah, that's fine.
Let's get it all in there. We were also saying about we have a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk. Did you see Saturday night's main event? Have you seen Raw?
Yeah. So I saw it, but then I kind of tuned out. But what I can remember is the CM Punk and Jey Uso match being uncharacteristically bad, like worse than usual.
I enjoyed it in the middle of the night, but I was waiting for it to end as well. But again, it was at the middle of the night. I was pleased to see Punk won.
Yeah,
and it'll be interesting to see where this leads to. Probably at least up to WrestleMania. Whether or not it'll be that Seth returns, or they'll go the Roman or Brock route. One of these ways, especially by this commercial that they've just shot.
Oh my God! Don't get me started with the commercial.
Well, okay, so here's an interesting thing. Why wasn't Seth part of it? Because when did they film that? Probably before he got injured. Or even if he wasn't, it feels like he should have been at that table.
Well, it's basically a confirmation, isn't it, that Seth is exactly where we thought he was as that like sort of next tier down B+ player that he is.
Triple H there, Paul Heyman there.
Triple H,
Paul Heyman guys.
Center.
And then, but why was Cody there? If it makes sense that you could have, they could easily have WrestleMania main event be Roman. Well, they kind of, why didn't they? Well, sorry, I'm just going to go off on a tangent here, right? So WrestleMania this year had Roman versus CM Punk versus Seth, all fighting over Paul Heyman's love. And then within a few months, they bring back Brock Lesnar It's like, so what are they going to do this same match again next year, but swap out Seth for Brock? Because all of that revolves around Paul Heyman.
Yeah, you know what? Hot take. I think that was the original plan until Brock Lesnar got involved in that lawsuit. So they had to go for Seth instead.
No, I think
now it's
when did
cleared.
Brock's had been away for a couple of years, hadn't he?
At
Like
least-
maybe before Punk got back.
The last thing I remember was the tractor thing. Him
The
on the
tractor?
tractor with him on the
Wasn't
tractor
the-
with Roman Reigns.
Well, it was the
What,
Cody
tipping the
feud.
ring?
The Cody feud.
Yeah.
The
was
Cody
Lesnar's
feud was his
last,
last one.
wasn't it? 'Cause he
Yeah.
raised his hand. Was it SummerSlam or something?
Something
SummerSlam
like that.
24?
Maybe
I don't know.
Punk was back, but I don't think he was. I think it was just like 3 or 4 months out before Punk returned.
Mm. But the whole commercial thing has left such a bad taste in my mouth, like for so many reasons.
Yeah.
The feet, first of all, like
Yeah.
what were they thinking? Because of course all of us and most of the internet start going, who could that be? What could that be for? Is it a comeback? Is it a new debut? Is it Jericho? Or hang on, that looks like Gunther. Da, 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 da. Like we were in the group chat sort of chatting about whose these feet were. And then it's just for a teaser trailer for a show they've already announced. We already knew it was in Vegas. And then here's Triple H right in the front, right in the middle.
Yeah.
As the architect of everything. It's just, it's all bollocks.
Yeah. Okay, so in the comments, Wrestling Pedigree 92 says Bully Ray said there is another place of chips on that table with an empty seat. That's
Yeah, I saw
interesting.
this.
What's interesting though is what are they actually betting on? They
There's,
haven't got.
there's no cards.
There's no cards. There's no roulette wheel. What was this? How did they overlook something like that?
Oh, could it be AI? Did AI write this?
Well, okay. One of the things that people were commenting on the internet at the time was Brock Lesnar's face. When I first saw a picture of him, I didn't even recognize him. He looks awful.
Mhm.
Like, and you know, obviously, he'd come back. He fought Cena, and he looked like Brock Lesnar. But when he filmed this, he looked like he was really unwell.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what else? So yeah, so coming to Raw, we had Logan Paul. Now Logan Paul got beaten up by the Vision, and then seemingly aligned with the Vision after a tease that he was aligning with Punk. To me, that none of that really made sense, because I don't think Logan Paul would be the type of character that if he was beaten up by someone, he'd be like, "Oh, I've just better align with them." That didn't make sense. You know, if they'd teased that they were going to beat him up and then he had aligned with them, but no, he actually got like tsunami and stuff. Dev,
See, like I have to bring it back to just before Raw as well. Just before Raw, Triple H tweeted, "This is the beginning of a new era
in what
in
sense?
WWE,
Yeah,
like a new season or whatever." Like, even this whole big like things are going to change. It's a
New
new era.
landscape, wasn't it?
No,
New
it's not.
landscape, he said, yeah.
And then nothing changed.
No, and we had a really weird Logan Paul, like weird hour and a half
Face turn, heel
babyface
turn.
right? And it was not the best. The only thing I guess I would take away from it in a positive sense is that they didn't have CM Punk be totally stupid as a babyface. Like Punk at no point was like, "Okay, we'll be friends now because you're going to help me." He the whole time was just like, no, I don't like you. Like, don't give him a microphone. I don't want to fight you for the title. I don't like you. Like, that gave him at least some agency. But yeah, it was not the best. But they had to pivot, I guess, with Seth's injury to fill out the War Games, because we've advertised War Games now, so we better get 2 teams of 4.
Oh yeah, you're
really
right.
quick.
Yeah. So
So
that
I don't think it's going to be a title feud. I think he's there to fill out the War Games team.
but also, it probably will be that he gets a world title shot sooner rather than later. And my genuine concern, because I enjoy Logan Paul as a WWE character. I didn't know anything about who he was before this. I heard that he had the celebrity boxing matches and stuff like this, but I didn't know anything about him. I think there is a risk that they keep putting him in main events because he's a well-known personality and he's got name value. But unless they're actually going to pull the trigger and give him a world title win, it will just be that he steps up. He literally is taking Miz's spot in someone that they suddenly elevate into, oh, you're in a world title feud and you never win. It's like it eventually it's just going to damage that actually. Well, what meaningful wins do you have? You were a US champion for a while, but that's why are you now always in main event spots? Because you never win them.
Right. I think he would kind of work better as an attraction wrestler, which is what he seems to see himself as and what they seem to see him as. So as you say, keep him out of title pictures. I guess the Rumble being the type of show that it is, that the world title's very rarely main event, he might be a good challenger for Punk.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that actually I would book that for, because whoever goes for the world title at the Royal Rumble, whoever doesn't win that match, if someone loses the world title at the Rumble, or if someone challenges and they're not winning at the Rumble, they're kind of dead in the water for WrestleMania every single year. You know, Dev, you had your hand up.
I was gonna say, like, going back to like having Logan Paul in individual matches, just have him for some reason he's really good at high flying matches. Like all of his high flying spots are amazing. Yeah, like better than anyone should be. So have him be like in matches with like well-known high flyers instead. Like he's had a match with Rey Mysterio, he's had a match with AJ Styles. Continue with that theme of like good matches that aren't like on the title.
I know what I'd do with him, right? So coming to something else on Raw, the whole reigniting Dom and Ray thing, right? At some point, I'm not saying this would be in any time scale for when, but I would have Rey Mysterio defeat Dominic for the AAA World Title, for the Mega Championship. And the person I'd have beat Ray for that world title would be Logan Paul. Because I think sending Logan Paul to AAA, to Mexico for those events, I think he'd be perfect as the heel that you could then get. Like, I'm not saying Vikingo, because Vikingo is like, he's 1 foot tall. And Logan Paul's obviously huge. But you get Penta, someone who you can then, or Ray Phoenix.
Americano.
El Grande Americano. Okay, El Grande Americano definitely needs to be mega champion at some point.
You might have hit on something there, actually, Dev, with El Grande Americano versus Logan Paul. I kind of want to watch that.
Oh my god, that would be perfect. Imagine
El Grande's loved down in Mexico, right?
Yeah, he's like the biggest face.
This would be hilarious. So Dominic's the champion. Let him keep it until WrestleMania or whatever the equivalent time period pay-per-view is for AAA down there. And Ray then wins it. And maybe Ray could even win the Mega Championship at WrestleMania. 2 or 3 months later, let Ray have it for a little while at least. Logan Paul defeats him in Mexico for the Mega Championship. And everyone's like, I can't believe it. And he's boasting and all that. And then Mexico's hope is El Grande Americano. That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You heard it.
Also, speaking of like the Dominic thing, he had the best line in the promo.
What, the Eddie?
He's listing off everyone, like listing off everyone, and as soon as he says Eddie Guerrero, he's like, "Keep my tattoo name out of your mouth."
Yeah,
it was. But he also said straight afterwards, "I am better than him." Like he took with one hand and gave with the other. Yeah, I loved that promo. To be fair, it was great.
Like, who would have thought that Dominic Mysterio, when he first debuted, like right up until
which time? He debuted twice.
Yeah, fair play. Well, okay, well, yeah. Imagine back then when he looked, because like when you saw Rey Mysterio without his mask in WCW, he looked exactly like Dominic did in when he was like 7 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that whole storyline, I was like, guys, if anyone saw Ray without his mask when he was in the Filthy Animals in WCW, he is definitely Dominic's father. 100%, right? But anyway, but like when he then debuted, like 4 years ago, whatever it would have been, and there was the stuff with Brock, and then they start tagging. Who would have thought that? Oh yeah, Dominic's going to be one of the best, and he'll completely step out of the shadow of Rey Mysterio to be his own thing, and he's going to be one of the best heel characters. Who could have imagined that?
But this beloved heel, this person who is at once the biggest heel and biggest babyface, like in the same.
You know who would have imagined that? Back in 2005, people that thought that Eddie was his dad.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Is there an element of people like, that's Eddie's kid? This is keeping Eddie alive in our hearts.
Genuinely, I think it is.
I think it's a really fun, because I think the Eddie tribute stuff is great, but I think it's been a little overplayed in the past 10 or so years by all sorts of random people who just really liked Eddie, which is great. We all did. Yeah. But there's something about it being Dominic that's doing it that has
it feels legitimate.
An extra warmth to it, because
like the son of Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah. Because you bet that Dom and Eddie would have had an uncle-nephew relationship at the very least, with Eddie and Ray being so close. Yeah. So it makes sense for him to have adopted so much of Eddie's charm,
Yeah, and he does he has a very similar cheeky charm, like likability, which is like, I like you, but I like you because you're such a douchebag kind of thing, which is exactly what Eddie had, Go on, Dev.
To borrow a sort of British term, he's like a what do you call it? A cheeky chappy.
Cheeky chappy, yeah, definitely. But yeah, so it's interesting that once, and the thing. So we've spoken actually. I've brought it up at least a couple of times over the last month, over the recent shows, saying about like the brother versus brother feuds. Other than Brett versus Owen, none of these family feuds worked. Now it isn't brother versus brother, but father versus son. Eddie versus Ray is an absolute home run. It completely worked. When they had their match at WrestleMania and Dom came out and he was in handcuffs and stuff like this for his entrance. And then the stuff with his sister, which, then the trivia is that she didn't know that he was going to chuck a drink on her or stuff like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Everything about that feud works so well. And the thing is, everyone loves Dom, but I don't think anyone turns on Ray for it. They're just like, we love you guys. We love both sides of this. We're happy whatever happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dom can't do anything wrong right now. It's like we talked a few weeks ago about like lightning in a bottle, and Dom seems to be having that year. Really, his 2025 has been that, because you said if you'd have told us 5 years ago, we wouldn't have believed you. I think if you'd have told us 1 year ago that Dom was going to be in the spot that he is now and beloved as he is, I don't think we would have believed you. It's a really great story that he's telling, Yeah, and I think he will be a world champion.
Well, I consider that he is. I think he's as much a world champion in WWE as the NXT champion, because Triple Mania has gone on for 30 plus years. And so it's like, even though it's seen as a smaller promotion, WWE bought it. WWE, they their world champion at the time they bought it was Alberto, a former WWE world champion. They put it on Vikingo and they were like, no, this needs to go. Yeah, exactly. Vikingo was never going to be someone. He's just too small. He isn't a world champion, in my opinion.
Enough of him.
Oh my god!
But Ray was a world champion. Ray was
small. The thing I like about
there's a real difference. There is a real difference. Like Vikingo, like people say about JD looking like a bobblehead, or what's it, a Funko Pop. There are photos of Vikingo where his head just looks abnormally big on this scrawny body, whereas Rey Mysterio always he's small, but he's he looks
Proportioned well.
yeah, he looks but he looks hench at the same time. But go on, Dev.
Okay, so I'll give Vikingo credit, like a lot of credit, because I've seen all his work in AEW. Like, he is a really, 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 really good wrestler, and he is really
Didn't he land like a terrible table spot on his debut match with Kenny Omega?
You mean it's because he does like he overdoes the spots. He like imagine Jeff Hardy, but like a million times worse. He comes like throwing spots in every.
Yeah, here it is. Right, here it is. Right. This was the moment. Like in the debut match, he just like I think he caught the back of his head in that. But anyway.
But the main reason everybody seems to hate him, and especially in AAA, the main reason they hate him in AAA is because as soon as WWE won the title, bought the company, they had to get the title of Del Rio
off Alberto. Yeah.
So they gave the title to White Vikingo with no build up.
Yeah,
that's why everyone hated him.
And I guess Alberto was popular. I guess then.
Yeah. Alberto was really popular.
He's beloved down in Mexico, isn't he?
Yeah, and then they had to like rip the title off him literally overnight because WWE bought the company.
Right.
What else? Oh, so speaking of titles, it's worth mentioning that AEW announced that they're going to have what was it called? The National Championship.
National title.
The AEW National Championship. But I don't think they showed it off.
They did. It was like this red thing with like
was that the
like
AEW belt? AEW National Championship.
Wasn't this red thing with like this?
I think that's the NWA. Hang on, let me show you, because if this is what they showed, I think that's the NWA belt.
Yeah, I think that's the picture I've seen is of the NWA.
Yeah, I think that is the NWA.
Yeah.
Oh, click on it here. So I think they've just added an AEW logo, because that's obviously not it either. Whereas, yeah, look, you can see that is. So he was one of the Spirit Squad, Mike Mondo, unbelievably.
Yes.
And
oh my God, so he is
around. Who would have thought he's still around? But he's
Mikey
in NWA, and he apparently there is the national champion.
Yeah, because Kenny worked on SmackDown as an agent, as a matchmaker.
Who is Kenny Dykstra?
Yeah, yeah.
What, he works in WWE currently?
Yeah.
Yes, he's on SmackDown as a agent.
You'll see him in some of the 10 million pull apart rules.
He wears glasses now.
Oh wow! But it's so weird. In fact, I'm just going to look up NWA Wrestling. I don't know if they've got a website.
They do. They own Billy Corgan.
Yeah, Billy. I know it's Billy Corgan. I haven't seen before the pandemic, and AEW started, and NWA gave their new show. I was like, NWA is so much fun because it was so retro. But I have not legitimately seen it in about 3 years. But a lot of their wrestlers just included, like, these are people I don't even recognize. This is the NWA roster. I don't know who I know Tom Latimer, but who are a lot of these people?
Was that Mike Knox that you just went?
Where? Oh my God! Seriously?
Knox and yeah, that's.
Oh my God!
Yeah, Mike Knox.
Mike Knox.
Dick Murdoch.
Wow. Yeah, Trevor Murdoch. That's crazy. But I know for a fact that they do just have a bunch of people that look at that EC3.
Yeah,
Where
I'm sorry, Daisy Kill is a great name.
Daisy Kill. I didn't see that. Oh my God. Yeah, some of these people, they don't have anyone recognizable. Like I know they used to have what was his name? Funkasaurus.
Oh, Brodus Clay.
Yeah.
What's his name now?
It's funny because both the SmackDown GMs used to be NWA champions.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, both the GMs used to be NWA champions.
Well, Nick Aldis and Cody
yeah. Well, see, look, here's the crazy thing. Nick Aldis could have gone to AEW when it was first a thing, but he stayed loyal to NWA, and apparently they then got shitty with him about the fact that him trying to stay in the world title picture. But he was like the only legitimate person they had. Like eventually, I think they gave it to Matt Cardona for a very short while, but it was Trevor Murdoch. It was who else was the world champion there? Oh, I forget. Trevor Murdoch,
Brodus Clay.
Brodus Clay, and then a guy called Tim Storm, who is just never
One
been
of the
anywhere.
Storm family.
It's one of the Storm family, but yeah. But so this is the only time NWA's come up recently, is that they're protesting that they've got well, actually, so do the companies have too many championship belts? Because if the NWA have got world, women's, world junior heavyweight champion, national champion, television champion, women's TV champion, mid-Atlantic champion, world tag team champions, United States tag team champions, and NWA women's world tag team champions. That's 1, 2, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's so many belts just for NWA, considering how small a brand they are.
Right.
AEW, apparently, I can't remember if this was the 17th or 19th championship they've got, not counting all of the, including Ring of Honor, but not counting all of the ones Mercedes has got. And then WWE apparently have over 20 championships.
Wow. Well, it's little wonder that there are championships, presumably across all pro wrestling brands, that are just not being utilized. Like I saw today that Julia's just become the longest reigning women's US champion. And I know there haven't been very many of them, but like, how many times has she defended it? How many times was it defended before? Like, it's a nothing belt, and you compare that to the men's US title, which is in really good health because of Sami Zayn and now Ilya Dragunov doing the open challenges. Like, it's night and day. It really is.
Dev,
I was looking up while he was talking. It's WWE's got 19, and not including AAA, it's 26.
that's insane.
AEW have 17.
How many do TNA currently have?
5, I think.
Is it only 5? See, TNA. I remember, like, when they first started, there used to be the commentator. What was his name? Mike Tenay. He'd have like Ask the Professor, and I'd read it every single week. People would send in questions, and for a long time, it was like, you know, should you bring in another title? Should you bring in a cruiserweight title? And they were like, no, we've got the X Division, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. If we bring in other titles, it's going to water them down. Right. And it's exactly what it did, because they brought in the Booker T brought in the Legends Championship, which became the Global Championship, which eventually became the TV Championship. And it's like all of these things become meaningless. And the TNA World Title, over the years, it went from the TNA, so they were NWA, and they didn't carry on the lineage, so they don't ever count that the early NWA champions were TNA champions, which I think is a shame. But they had the NWA World Title, to the TNA World Title, to the Global Force Wrestling World Championship. They renamed the whole company for about 6 weeks, and then they fell out with Jeff Jarrett and had to undo that. And all of these things damage the value of any of these belts meaning anything. But again, Dev, sorry, go ahead. Whoever.
Yeah. So I was like, with TNA, they have like 8 titles, I think. But what I just remembered as well, when you said Ask the Professor, that this is my wrestling trivia fact of the week, by the way. Don Callis from the Don Callis family, takes credit for inventing Ultimate X.
Okay, that's cool. Like I wouldn't know either way, but good for him if he did.
Yeah, like in the TNA universe, in kayfabe, he literally announced, "I made Ultimate X."
I wonder if there's been any conversation between TNA and WWE about having an Ultimate X match happen on an NXT show. Because I'll be honest, if I was TNA, I'd say that's off limits. I wouldn't let them take it, because as soon as you give that over and it's been on WWE TV, they'll find some way of rebranding it and taking it for themselves.
They have evidence now, don't they, of this working relationship and the NXT guys and girls taking all of the titles, and And that, I think I was reading, is something with is it Santana? Is it Mike Santana?
Mike Santana, yeah.
who was saying, no, we were legitimately pissed, like they were coming over here and taking our titles. And
Well, yeah, and you think so? They could say, "Well, we gave the Hardys the titles." It's like, yeah, they're the Hardys. They're the most WWE guys you've got on the TNA roster.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think so. I think so. Go on, Dev.
Santana, Moose, Dolph Ziggler, like loads of these like TNA guys were legit pissed about the titles being not on TNA people. Like they originally envisioned it to have like a WWE versus NXT, but with no titles involved, and that would have been the best thing to do. But the fact that like WWE taking the title reins away from TNA wrestlers didn't allow them to grow in popularity, because they're like, oh, nobody, like their own championship isn't on their show.
See, I'll tell you though, like having like Trick as the world champion on their title history, especially if Trick Williams goes on to main roster and becomes a world champion or whatever, you'd look at, oh, so what is TNA? I haven't watched that in a few years. Oh, Trick was there. There is something to have. This is why Jericho was the first AEW world champion. Stuff like this.
Right, but I think with the ideal version of that relationship is that becomes like a symbiosis and it works both ways. Whereas what was happening, it was just NXT guys winning TNA titles, and TNA guys weren't winning NXT
titles, except for the Hardys, which doesn't mean anything. Yeah,
right.
Because they're just WWE guys.
There's only one like actual TNA guy that's benefited from the NXT thing.
Joe Hendrick.
Leon Slater.
Okay, what makes you say that?
Because Leon Slater is now like, because everybody else was like losing and they're wrestling but losing to like.
Is he the X Division champion currently?
Yes, he is.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Leon Slater is X Division champion, but he's currently on NXT regularly and building up his brand while being a TNA wrestler.
That just means WWE want to sign him. Look at Jordan Grace. Like, yeah, come do the Royal Rumble. And then a few months later, she's in WWE. Joe Hendry is going to be in WWE full time before you know it.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Joe Hendry, this week in NXT, the picture of my corner happened.
Okay, so yeah. What is the deal there? Who is that with him?
Okay, that's Thea Hall, who was in Chase University.
Yeah.
Like the hyperactive blonde cheerleader that was with Chase University. He is currently in a feud with Ethan Page and Chelsea Green. And as backup, he's enlisted Thea Hall to be his partner.
Okay. So what is the deal with Chelsea currently then?
Oh, she's the North American champion.
What, in NXT?
Yeah. Isn't
like,
she?
What? Yeah, well, quite possibly. Yeah. I don't watch NXT regularly, so
I know she had a Canadian sort of faction thing going on with Ethan Page.
Yeah, they're doing the Canadian thing, and she's got this Hervis who are all like. It's funny that both members of the Sicker Hervis were members of Pro Wrestling Eve, which is like a big women's wrestling company here in London.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right, guys, we got a few minutes just before I will need to wrap things up for tonight's show. But anything else? Any other big news or things? Yeah,
speaking of Chelsea Green, just reminded me that we haven't, I don't think, on any Slam Jams talked about Ridge Holland or Luke Menzies, as he's known, being treated pretty appallingly by WWE.
So what was the deal? There was something this week saying about Ridge got into trouble for saying they couldn't pay his mortgage or something.
Yeah, so they said they were going to not renew his contract.
Yeah.
But he's out for like 7 months with a broken foot. And then he tweeted to say that this was happening and that he felt a bit betrayed and that he was going to be in real trouble. And they decided that tweet was a breach of contract. So now they've not even paid him to the end of his deal, which was due to expire this week or next week, I think. But it's just absolutely gross. When you consider that both major companies, should I say, are routinely adding time to wrestlers' contracts when they get injured, and they're like, "Oh no, Ray Phoenix, you can't leave to go with your brother." Really, we're going to add that time, and yet when they want to get rid of someone, they're not going to do the same thing.
I know it's the worst thing, isn't it? Where it's all of the power is completely with the company.
Yeah, and
no one can leave when they've decided that they're not happy working there.
Yeah, and of course they're making very, very good money when they are contracted, but they've got to survive. And I say Chelsea Green made me think of it because she is donating, I think, $1,000 a month to Rich Holland's GoFundMe.
I heard that Omos is doing that, right?
Omos as well.
That in the group chat, which is cool. Mm-hmm. You know, I do worry though that little things like that might get those wrestlers seen negatively because they seem to be taking a side, basically. Dev.
So I'll preface this with, I am real life friends with Big E. I play video games with him.
Get him on the show. Right, okay.
I play video games with him a lot. So all I will say about this is,
you play video games with Big E?
Yes.
What video games does Big E play?
Like mostly shooters and like fighting games and stuff.
What? Shit, I've got Street Fighter here. Big E, hit me up. Right, let's do this.
But I will say this. Karma's a bitch.
Hey, Karma was a great wrestler during her time.
Yeah, true. Karma the wrestler's great, but Karma is a bitch because I've still not forgiven him for what he did to Big E.
Do you know what? It is an accident.
It was no... Yeah, that's...
Like, okay, Big E is an accident, right? Let's say it's an accident. But he did it 3 more times to other people. He injured 3 more people.
So then that's a conversation, isn't it, on the training and development system it's not on this guy failing to do a job.
If everybody else is like fine, why is he the one that's consistently injuring people? It's like Nia Jax.
Well, yeah. So okay. So the thing is, I've said a bunch of times on the show recently that they should stop doing dumb moves outside the ring. You shouldn't be doing belly to belly release suplexes outside the ring and things where you land your power bombs on the apron and stuff like this. Or on just like on Raw or something like this. If you're going to do something crazy, do it at WrestleMania. Where it's going to be in front of 100,000 people.
Yeah. One move that I really disliked, and they did this during a commercial break, and it really, really pissed me off. Kairi Sane did an Alabama Slam to Io Sky.
To EO, wasn't it? We talked about that a couple of Slam Jams ago because I can't believe they did that on the break.
Corner of the ring during a commercial.
Yeah. Sorry, I got us onto a whole new topic just before you were trying to wrap up there.
No, it's okay. I was just trying to see if there's any late breaking news. Okay, we will wrap things here because we'll get into this more next time because I'm sure there's going to be developments on everything like that.
I mean, the latest breaking news I heard was someone's injured and they've been taken out of Blood and Guts and being replaced by Mina Shirakawa.
Who?
I can't remember who was injured, but
okay.
Mina Shirakawa is now in Blood and Guts.
Okay, do you know what? I haven't caught up enough with AEW. I've seen the last couple of pay-per-views and stuff, but mostly it's I'll see clips and I'll see that they're bringing in new championships, mostly around the waist of Mercedes Moné. But Blood and Guts, I'm sure, will be something I try to check out. And this is the first time they're doing a women's Blood and Guts, isn't it?
Yes.
Is there a good storyline reason for why they're doing it?
I'm not sure. I'm not probably
here's the thing: if they're doing a Blood and Guts, I'm not saying they shouldn't do a women's Blood and Guts, but if they're doing it at the same week that they've got a men's Blood and Guts, it's do they both need to happen? Just does there need to be a War Games every year? Does there need to be 2 War Games every year? Do they need to do these things if there aren't the thing with war games is it's a faction versus a faction. You can always say, well, Royal Rumble happens every year, Elimination Chamber happens every year, and it decides who a world title contender is going to be. But like, what reason is there for like 5-on-5 matches that need to be in a cage if they're just pulled out of thin air?
It's like that with the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that they used to do as well. It's like, well, we're going to have a Hell in a Cell match, not because it's this like Cactus Jack Triple H blood feud, but it's October, so we better hate each other and have a cell match, I guess. So.
Yeah. I mean, like, even in that sense, you could try kind of justify that there could be lots of people feuding, and like the powers that be might look at it and say, this feud, we're going to put you there. And they could have gone with the idea of like, oh, well, we didn't think it demanded it, but we'll work into it, sort of thing. Right. But like a 5-on-5 war games, it's like, and now there's going to be like the first women's one. It's like, but if you've only decided this match within like a 2-week thing, it's like, why do they need to be in this match? Or don't have the men's one and just say there's going to be the women's one.
I think there should have just been a women's one.
Exactly, because
the women have had war games a couple of times, I think. Or were you talking about Blood and Guts?
Remember, like a few years ago now, when there was like the Britt Baker Thunder Rosa thing, and she was covered in blood and stuff like that. It's like, match, you don't just have that for the sake of it, but when it happens, it stands out. But if you force the circumstances for this, this is what the problem with John Moxley, where it's like every time you see him, he's got some new weapon or something, and there's no point. Anyway, guys, I'm going to have to wrap things here. So let's find out where we can find people. Ian, where can the people find you?
Find me here on Slam Jam next time.
Awesome. Dev?
You can find me on TikTok and Twitch on the name FWDAT.
Amazing. You can find me on David Postansky and everything Slam Jam related. Till next time, stay safe, always stay extreme, and boom, we're off the air, you Slam Jam bronies.
Good show, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Right, guys, I'm going to